Good evening. This is the Tuesday, November 15th, 2022 regular meeting of the Flemington Borough Planning Board. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Both adequate and electronic notice of this meeting has been provided by way of publication in the Hunterdon County Democrat and Courier News newspapers on or about August 4th, 2022. In addition, notice of the meeting was posted on the door of the Borough of Flemington Municipal Building located at 38 Park Avenue, and any handicapped accessible entrances thereto posted on the municipal website, provided as the municipal clerk and distributed to all persons, if any, requesting copies of same. This meeting is being recorded with both audio and video and may be rebroadcast. This meeting is a judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to the issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. I ask everyone to please rise as you're able for the flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We call the one, please.
Mayor Driver and Mr. Parker are excused. Mr. Campion,
Yes.
Mr. Joshua,
Here.
Mrs. Engelhardt,
Here.
Mr. Cook,
Here.
Ms. Giffen, here, Ms. Weitzman is excused. Mr. Hill.
Here.
Mr. Levitt,
Here.
Ms. Kaczynski, here. We are waiting for Ms. McManus with the inclement weather. Mr. Clerico is recused, but we have Mr. Hill and Mr. Chapman.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. So first item on the agenda this evening, as always, a period for public comments for items not currently in front of the board. If any member of the public wishes to make a comment, please raise your hand here or click on raise hand on Zoom. Seeing none, we will move on. The mayor and our council liaison are both absent this evening. Neither sent me any comments. Did you get anything from
No,
them?
I didn't.
Okay, HPC. I do not see our HPC chair. We had nothing since the last
No
meeting.
resolution then.
Nothing since the last meeting. So we go to item 5 on the agenda, approval of minutes from our October 25th, 2022 regular meeting. Those have been previously circulated. I need a motion and a second to adopt the minutes.
So move.
Second.
Okay, any corrections or changes on the minutes? Okay.
Mr. Hill,
Yes.
Ms. Giffen? Yes. Mr. Campion,
Yes.
Mr. Joshua,
Yes.
Mrs. Engelhardt,
Abstain.
Mr. Cook,
Yes.
Mr. Levitt?
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 6 on the agenda is the resolution memorializing approvals for the Family Promise of Hunterdon County application that has not been completed yet. So we're going to table that to our next meeting. Item 7 on the agenda is resolution memorializing the action taken in conjunction with Tidbits MJ LLC at our last meeting. We're also going to table that to our next meeting. So that brings us to item 8. Completeness hearing for Aunt Mary's Dispensary LLC, Block 49, lots 1, 9, 10, and 11, which includes a minor site plan. So, thank you. And so what? Feel free to sit down at there. If you can turn on the camera on the laptop there, so folks remote and the recording can see you. So tilt that down a
I
little bit.
apologize to the audience.
So there's literally nobody on remote, but it is being recorded. So
And then do I unmute?
you don't need to unmute there because this microphone takes care of everything. And if there are, I don't think there's anything for this applicant, but for the next applicant, we ask if we have digital stuff, we can, use there when we share screens so we can see everything. So,
Okay, great.
all right.
So thank you for having us here tonight. My name is Mike McQueenie of Foley Hoag on behalf of the applicant Aunt Mary's Dispensary, who's formerly known as Altus, New Jersey. We're here tonight for a completeness hearing for a medicinal and adult use cannabis to be, a dispensary to be located at 100 Rieville Ave, Unit 6B, Block 49, lots 1, 9, 10, and 11, commonly known as the Shops at Flemington. Some of you may be familiar with this site as it's a developed strip mall that has been the subject of numerous applications over the years. This application, however, is solely for a change of use relating to an interior fit out of an existing vacant tenant space. There are no other site improvements proposed, and there will be no change to existing access, site circulation or coverage. No soil disturbances are proposed. The applicant has reviewed the board engineer's report dated November 11th, 2022. And we agree with the comments and will provide a supplemental submission prior to the hearing date. In particular, as to the required site plan, the applicant will submit a prior site plan dated August 12th, 2003 that we've received from the property owner, as well as a prior survey dated January 28, 2016, as well as signed and sealed architectural plans. I should also note that this is both a site plan application as well as a conditional use application. Unfortunately, I omitted to check the box on the conditional use, although I will note in our rider, we did address the conditional use conditions. And we did submit a fee for both the conditional use application for $200 and the site plan application for $400. The applicant is seeking waivers, and all of these waivers were agreed to by the board engineer. Specifically, it's items, and if you'll bear with me, there's a
Read
number.
the whole list, it's
Yeah.
okay, we need it for the record.
Yep, so these are waivers related to items 3, 8, 10, 15, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 28, 42, 45, 50, 53, 58, 59, 61, 62, 63, 64, 69, 70, 71, and 72. Again, applicant submits that these waivers are reasonable as this is simply a change of use application. And again, the board engineer agrees with these waivers, that these waivers be granted as he identifies in his completeness report. And I will just note for the record, we also provided a response to the board engineer's completeness report that we did circulate to the clerk, the board counsel, as well as the board engineer, that essentially just outlines what I just said on the record here. What we would ask is that you deem the application complete and schedule applicant for a public hearing, and if possible, even the next public hearing, given the minor nature of this application and the waivers requested. I'll just note that this, in terms of the operations of my clients, especially medicinal dispensary, this would be the last step in terms of becoming operational. If the board has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I also have a representative from the applicant as well as architect and general contractor, just in case there's any questions that are outside of my purview.
Understood. So let me go through stuff that you didn't mention when you read through all the numbers.
Sure.
Item 20 is an affidavit of ownership and owner certification noted on plan. Are you requesting a waiver from that?
And I'm sorry, I apologize. As noted in the board engineer's report, he said if we requested it, he would recommend it be granted. And I thought I noted for the record item 20.
Okay, so item 20, 22, 24, and 71 are 4 items that Mr. Clerico recommended that you request. Are you requesting this?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
just making sure. we-
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
No, we're trying to do this by the book. There was item 12, which is signature block. Is it on, or is your testimony that this is on the site plan that you're going to submit?
It'll be on the architect's plans that the signed and sealed architect's plans that we're going to submit. Correct.
And item 18, which is site plan scale requirements. Again, that's going to be on the plans you're going to submit.
Correct, for both the signed and sealed architectural plans as well as the prior site plan. Those will be drawn to scale. Correct.
Okay. So Kara, there are other items that Bob's memo says is incomplete, but testimony we heard is that this is all forthcoming. So how best to handle this?
So the board has in the past, and I think it's appropriate in this situation if the board agrees, deemed an application incomplete for the reasons requested or for the reasons indicated by Bob, grant the waivers that have been requested, and allow for the application to continue and then be scheduled for a hearing once all of those incomplete items have been submitted to the board engineer and essentially checked off as being received. So in the past, we've made determinations that we're not going to tonight schedule a hearing subject to the submission of that information, but once it's submitted, Bob can indicate to Eileen, everything has been submitted, and then at the next hearing, provided that there's sufficient time to notice, the board would then deem the application complete and have a hearing at the same time, because essentially Bob has indicated that everything has been received and essentially the application can be deemed complete at the next meeting.
Our next hearing is next week, which does not give you time to notice anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry, and the next hearing I was thinking about was December 6th. And I guess the only thing I would just comment, we may be saying the same thing differently. I think the board engineer's recommendation was provided we provided the prior site plan and agreed to provide those plans to scale.
Right.
Then I think he would deem it complete.
Yes, yeah, that's what we got from Bob. So we're saying the same thing, but what I think we're gonna probably feel more comfortable doing is grant all of the waivers that have been requested.
Okay.
Deem it incomplete tonight. Get everything to Bob, which sounds like we've got it all ready to go. Once Bob has it, we can, officially schedule you for the December 6th hearing. And then do completeness and hearing on that night. That allows you to notice all the rest of it, but until Bob has it,
Of
we
course.
don't have what we need to do the hearing.
Okay, great.
That would need to be 10 days prior,
Right.
correct? Which is the day after Thanksgiving, so the clock is going to be a little tighter for something like this for the 6th.
Right, but if they have everything ready to go and literally tomorrow morning they can send it to Bob, then we can get.
Right, they have until Wednesday, and I know the borough is closed half a day on Wednesday and goes on Thursday for Thanksgiving, not the day after. So I'm just trying to.
Yep.
Point that out.
So Bob needs to have everything before, like, the next few days.
Yeah, we'll again, like I said, we've been compiling everything, so we'll be able to get it to him as.
Understand that so we have a meeting on the 6th, and we have a meeting on the 13th. Yeah, the meeting on the 13th, we're really trying to keep that clear because we are anticipating public hearing adoption of revision store master plan, and it's gonna be a long night. And I would hate to have you on that night as well, because that would take precedence and you'd have to wait, and we don't wanna do that. So that's why I'm just trying to press the
Yeah, of course.
timeline,
Of course.
to make sure that it gets done, y'all can move forward.
And one other
Yeah,
issue, the escrow that was submitted in total was $600. I am in receipt of one of the the very first invoice that I have, which exceeds that already. So you need to give us how much escrow, and obviously Bob has already taken a look at this and prepared his report. We're going to have a public hearing. So I think some of those, I don't know what the board would be comfortable with, or the professionals, maybe they can give us some insight on the amount.
yeah, so we can handle that probably by email, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, we can do that off, not tonight, but, that we have,
And
when you submit everything else, we can discussion.
and we've signed the escrow agreement, so that's not an issue.
Okay, so where we are right now then, right, is I need a motion to deem the application incomplete, but grant waivers for checklist items 3, 8, 10, 15, 19, 21, 28, 20, 42, 45, 50, 53, 58, 59, 61, 62, 63, 64, 69, 70, 72, 20, 22, 24, and 71.
That's
I'm just hoping someone's got it on down, that's, so can I get a motion and a second for that?
I'm just double checking the numbers.
Did I know the number?
No, you got them. Yeah, so move.
Second.
Is there any further discussion on the board?
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Excuse me, Ms. Giffen? Yes. Mr. Campion?
Yes.
Mr. Dawson?
Yes.
Mrs. Engelhardt?
Susan, you here? You're muted if you're talking. Come back to her.
Okay, Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Levitt?
Yes. She just dropped off.
Okay.
Internet issues down in Atlantic City. So life. We have votes, so we're good. All right,
All
thank you.
right, so essentially, the sooner you get the information, then better. Bob will take a look. Once he advises Eileen that he has everything that he needs to satisfy those remaining items, which was 12, 18. One, I think you've already addressed, because you said you already did. You already technically applied for the conditional use variance. You just need to
Check the box.
check the box, exactly. 4, 6, 7, 16, and 34. Once he advises that that's all in, then we will go ahead and let you know. Eileen will let you know that you're scheduled for whatever hearing that may be. Hopefully it's December 8th. Sorry, thank you. Everything must be into the board, which again it will be, but no later than the 25th. If we have to have everything 10 days before, we
Yep.
have to have it in well before then, in order to make the deadline to notice and publish for that day. And I don't know, when's the weekly deadline for publication?
That is actually moved up because of the holiday as
That's what I
well. I
figured.
think the Democrat is Thursday at noon.
This Thursday.
This Thursday for publication next for the 20th.
So, and make sure that you connect with Kara on language for notice for our hybrid meetings.
Okay, perfect.
You have my number and email, you can
Yeah.
return it, I mean,
Just trying to make this as efficient way as possible.
No, I appreciate that.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, item 9 on the agenda is the public hearing for 161 Dolce LLC, which is block 14, lot 37, 161 Main Street site plan. Good evening, Mr. Miller.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, members of the planning board. My name is John Lanza. I have the privilege to represent Adrian Montage and Fabio Palamendi, who are the owners of 161 Dolce LLC. And we're here tonight to seek approval for major site plan and preliminary and final, and also potentially some C variances. Essentially, there's going to be no significant change in the building per se, or the footprint. We simply want to put a roof or a retractable roof over the existing patio. We've contracted or have a contractor. He may or may not be here tonight. He was held up in New York. I'm scheduled to be here to explain it more fully, but the witnesses I have tonight are Mr. Montage, one of the owners. I have Kelly Osuch, he's our engineer and planner, and potentially a Seljan Bellinger. He would be the contractor should Mr. Bellinger make it. We anticipate that he will. With that, I could start my presentation with Mr. Montage.
okay, so why don't we swear in the witnesses?
We have all the notices and all that other good stuff first, right? There's public hearing.
Yes, we will do that first. We can, that's fine. So what we typically do is we mark exhibits at the very beginning. So the application and supporting documentation will be marked as exhibit A1. A2 will be the notices and proof of publication, which Eileen, everything has been submitted in order.
Correct.
Yes, the board has jurisdiction over the application. Since we're marking the exhibits right now, why don't we mark the board's professionals exhibits? What we have is the board planners exhibit, board planners report dated November 10, 2022. We'll mark that as PB1. The board engineers technical review report dated November 12, 2022. We'll mark that as PB2. And the traffic report from the board and board traffic engineer dated November 14, 2022. We'll mark that as PB3. So we've got exhibits out of the way. So let's swear in the applicant's witnesses and the board's professionals all at once, and then we can get the witness qualifications. So testimony, I'm about to give this board the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
And where is the witness?
Bring that other chair around, you can, right, look, this black one, it's the comfy chair. Just watch the wires. Yeah, if you can both kind of be kind of at the table there, so the mic picks you up and well, not both witnesses, one at a time, but with Mr. Lanza, so. That way, folks on the,
Yeah, I don't know if that mic is on.
it's on, yeah. Actually, it's that mic that's captured, but that's.
Well, that mic, yeah, just,
Yep.
thinking sometimes it's nice to have.
Mr. Montage, if you could just spell your name for the record, please.
My name is Adrian, my first name and my last name is Mataj, M-A-U-T-H-A.
Thank you.
Mr. Mataj, what do you do for work?
Work at the Dolce Restaurant,
And where's that?
that's on 161 Main Street, Flemington.
Can you briefly explain to the board your experience in the restaurant business?
Well, that's what I've been doing for all of my life, so I've been doing this for 25 years, so it's a good experience, I like to serve people.
You presently, how long have you, what's the name of your restaurant?
Dolce Restaurant.
And that's at 161 Main Street in Flemington? How long have you operated your restaurant there?
It's over 5 years, under 6 years. So.
When you first opened Dolce, did you lease the property or own it?
At least the problem.
And the condition of the property is now, can you describe first of all the restaurant lot and the building?
Actually, it was just as is right now, so.
And, okay, and you also purchased the lot next door, correct?
Correct, yes,
That's lot 15.
it's lot 15, correct.
Can you describe what's on that lot?
It's a 5 one-bedroom apartments and like it's a commercial, it's a store. First.
And when you first operated your Dolce business at this site, was it the same building and use of the property as you do now?
Correct, yes.
Did you make any changes to
No.
any changes to the lot? The parking, how's the parking between the two lots that are contiguous 14?
It was the same parking for the, we was using, so from the previous owner, so we've been told that we can use the whole parking lot for the,
And you presently own that.
correct, yes,
And it's owned by 161 Dolce LLC.
correct.
And now, what are your hours of operation?
We are open just for dinner right now, so from 3:30
What time?
till 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock.
What is your role in the business?
The road.
What do you do?
So it's managing everything, waitress, whatever,
And Mr. Clemendi, what does he do?
same game. So he worked,
You're the two owners,
correct, yes,
and you also operate the business.
correct,
You have any employees?
yes.
How many employees do you have?
Right now, we have 3 in the kitchen. And we got in the dining room, we got the part-time. Or depends how busy we are, I'm gonna see this.
When you say 3 in the kitchen, does that include you or Mr. Clemendi?
No, that's not
So you have 5 full-time and
full-time, correct.
and how many part-time?
Depends, like 3, sometimes 3, sometimes 4, depends how busy we are.
Do your employees park vehicles on the property?
No, no, they work because they live here.
Okay. Now, can you describe to the board what you would like to do with at the restaurant?
Yeah, so we basically, we just want to cover it with the, it's like the remote control thing. So it just opens up and closes up. And with the sides do the same thing, it's a remote control, so it opens up and closes up. On
Now, your building has both an interior section and an exterior section, correct?
correct,
It has an interior restaurant and a patio in it. And do you currently use both?
yes,
Have you used both since you started operating there?
correct, yes.
Have you made any changes at all to your operation since you occupied?
Nothing.
When did you purchase the properties?
It was on September, I don't know exactly, but it was September
2021.
2000,
So it's been somewhat little over a year.
over a year, yeah.
And would this be the first major improvement to the business?
Correct, yes.
Now, have you had an installer come out to inspect the property and what you want to do with the roof?
Yes.
And do you recall who that is?
It's a Mr. Chelik. So he's a contractor and he does, these things.
You take measurements
Yes,
and he gave you a drawing
yes.
and we submitted that drawing as part of the application, correct? Now, we submitted two drawings, right? Right,
Correct.
but we're not using both of them, we're
No.
only using one.
We use one.
Okay. Do we mark this for identification?
Was that part of the site plan that was submitted?
That was part of it.
No change, no coloring to it, nothing like that? No revision?
No.
Okay, so we're fine.
What sheet was that on? Just,
That would be part of our application, it wouldn't be.
It's not in the site plan.
It's in the site plan. Yeah,
it's not in site plan,
so
so
it's part of one, with a separate document we submitted, but it's a two-page document because at the time. It wasn't finally decided after which plan we were gonna go with, correct?
Correct.
And
All right. So let's just mark it for identification. We'll mark it as A3. And let's give the title and the date.
Is this the 15th?
Yes.
But this is entitled Project Production Plan and Section, Professional Awning Manufacturers Association, you're a member. And it depicts the general area of the patio walls, and the roof with the retractable awning or retractable roof. Correct? Correct. This is the plan that you're going to go with.
And that was prepared by,
That was prepared by the contract.
Contract.
His name is up here. His last name is Mr. Bellinger.
BILGNER.
BELINGER.
BILGINER.
Thank you.
and is there a date on there?
I don't believe there's a date.
7/10/2020.
Yeah.
Double check.
I think we're looking at it here. Has your vision?
Project during history, what was 1/10/2020 up on top.
110?
Says 01.10.220.
The original date, and then we have a revision.
Says revisions, but there's no date.
So it says, that's 7/10,
Yeah, it's
20.
27. Okay.
and it says revised number 2. Yeah, I'm not clear whether that's the original date or this is
I think
revised
that's a
date.
revision 2 date.
Okay. We have a copy of. Yeah, Mr. Lance, start that one.
And can you describe, first of all, the interior of the restaurant that you use for your patrons? How many tables or seats do you have?
We got about 60 seats.
60 seats, and that's in the main building?
Correct, yes.
And in the patio, do you use the patio?
Correct, yes.
And when do you use the patio?
Well, mostly on the summertime right now.
And how many seats do you have out
It's
there?
about 40 seats outside.
And what's the purpose of this application to have the roof?
Just trying to improve business, so extend a little bit season, because most of the business we do on the summertime, so people like to sit outside, so we just like extend a couple more months probably.
Now, does your employees, do they have shifts?
Yes,
And what are the shifts?
just the nighttime, so from 3:30, 4 o'clock until 9.
On a busy day, how many employees would you have, full and part-time?
You mean in the dining room or the full?
Full.
Yeah, about 8.
And on I'd say an average day, typical day, how many patrons do you serve?
Well, it depends on the day, like 80 people, 90 people sometimes.
Has the parking as it exists, has it been adequate?
Yes,
What type of cuisine do you?
Italian, open Italian.
Now, there's been a request that you put a do not enter sign. Well, first of all, can you describe, and I know we're gonna get into it more with our professional, our engineer, but how do patrons get in and out of your parking?
So it's, yeah, so it's an entrance, we get in and then there is parking in the back and then it's the exit side, so it's a.
So on one side of the building, there's an entrance, on the other
And
side.
the other side is, exit.
How long have you been doing the parking in that fashion?
Since we've been there.
Has it worked for you?
Yes, yeah,
Now,
no complaints so far.
it's been requested you put a do not enter sign on the back of the proposed stop sign at the exit driveway on lot 14. You don't have a problem with that, do you?
No,
Yeah, you have deliveries from time to time, correct? A product,
correct.
and where do the trucks come, and where are the deliveries made?
It's mostly actually it's a small vans with the refrigeration and stuff. So it's not big trucks.
Where do they load and unload?
It's in the back of the it's in the back of the building.
The restaurant,
Correct, yes.
do they park on Main Street?
No.
And how often do you get delivered?
Once a week.
You have garbage service,
Correct.
and where is your refuse containers located?
Yeah, so the garbage actually is with the totes, so we bring to the curb. In front of the restaurant, so they pick up in the main street.
And who picks that up?
The Republic, the truck company,
How long have they been doing that?
since we've been there, so over 5 years.
Now, as far as an average day of operation, the fact that you're putting an awning up, is that going to add to the number of patrons on any particular day?
No, not really, not yet, no.
And this will allow you really just to extend your
Extend.
seating. So the intensity of your use of your restaurant use.
Yeah.
Will not be affected on a daily basis, correct?
Correct, yes.
And this is just to extend your seating a month or two. That's all I have. at this point.
So our usual procedure is to have questions from the board's professionals, questions from the board, and questions from members of the public for each witness's testimony is given. So I'll kind of run down. Beth, do you have questions?
I don't think I have any questions for this witness.
No problem.
No, I don't.
No, are you good?
Yeah, I don't have any questions for this witness.
Jay, you good?
No question.
Kara, do you have anything?
Nope.
Members of the board with questions? Okay, any members of the public have questions for this witness? Seeing no members of the public, that's fine. We'll thank you for the testimony.
Thank you. With your permission, Mr. Chairman, I call Kelly Such as a witness. Mr. Such, you've been sworn. What do you do for work?
I'm a professional engineer and planner in the state of New Jersey.
Can you state for the board your qualifications, first of all, as an engineer?
Yes, I have a bachelor's of science degree in civil engineering from Virginia Tech, graduated in 2012. Since then, I've been practicing civil engineering in the state of New Jersey for the past 10 years.
Are you a licensed professional engineer in New Jersey?
Yes,
How long have you been so licensed?
since 2018.
Have you say you're also a professional planner?
Yes,
What qualifications do you have to testify as a professional planner before this board?
I have a license and I've provided testimony as a professional planner before.
Are you licensed in the state of New Jersey?
Yes,
How long have you been so licensed?
actually since this year, 2022.
No, where is your business?
Our office is located at 140 West Main Street in Highbridge, New Jersey.
What services do you provide?
Civil engineering, surveying, planning. Additional,
Does your company represent any municipalities?
they do.
What municipalities?
Currently are representing Cohacton and Kingwood.
And as far as you giving testimony, have you given testimony as a planner and engineer before other boards?
Yes, before, as both, before the Branchburg Planning Board, and strictly as an engineer, in front of plenty of pancakes and zoning boards.
Prior to your present position, what's the name of your company?
ENLP, Engineering and Land Planning Associates.
And before that, did you work for any other firm in this county?
Yeah, previously worked for Van Cleef Engineering.
And how long did you work for them?
I think 4 years, 3 or 4 years.
At this point, I would submit Mr. Osuch as a licensed and qualified professional engineer and planner to testify before this board.
Any objections from our professionals? So you AICP and PP, you got both of them?
No, just people. And
Just the PP test,
Yeah.
that's, it's a,
if you're a professional engineer, they have like a PP
ah,
test.
good.
Yeah.
See, I didn't do it that way, so, all right. Any other questions from the board? Okay, so without objection.
Right, Mr. Osuch, can you describe your task or the task we've asked you to perform for the purposes of this application for Dolce LLC?
So our office was hired by the applicant to prepare a survey and site plan application for their proposed improvements to the site, which briefly to discuss is enclosing or putting a roof over an existing patio area on the property. So
Did you prepare the site plan?
I worked with Wayne Ingram from my office as well as a few other engineers, and they put the application together for the package together.
Do you have a blow up or amount of your site plan?
Yeah.
Or you could use that for your testimony?
This the exact set kind of that was submitted, the application.
Just date wise, I'll just double check. This was last revised October 25th, 2022.
All right, let's just mark it to just be safe, mark this as A4. What sheet is that?
It's sheet 4 of 5. And it's site and grading plan,
And that last revision, get it over again?
October 25th, 2022. Did you say A4 there?
A4, yep.
Yeah, the original submission is a different date, so.
The original submission would have been, or the original plan set would have been June 30th, 2022.
The most recent I have is August 31st, 22.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
Alright.
Were revisions done in accordance with any requests by some of the board professionals?
Yeah, they were done under the original completeness. Letters and putting us items, and I believe they were resubmitted. We're able to make some additional revisions that have not made it to the board yet.
Can you describe, first of all, the lot, the particular lot in question where the restaurant and the patio is located?
Yeah, so the applications for both block 37, both blocks 14 and 15. The restaurant is located on lot 14. It's a relatively small lot. It's approximately 0.17 acres. And it's 95%, 94.32% impervious currently. So it's fully developed with impervious coverage, the building, parking lot, and the exterior patio, the seating area along Main Street in the front of the building.
Will the installation or construction of the awning or roof over the patio make any change to the front yard setback?
Yeah, so the proposed awning structure will further propose the building going into the front yard. And it will result in a front yard setback of 2.7 feet, where there 25 is otherwise required in the zone. However, the ordinance also has a provision where you can lower the required setback based on the prominent structures on the site. We've also calculated that to be 19.25 feet. I think there was a comment of providing that calculation, which we provide. But nonetheless, we are still asking for a little bit from the ordinance at the front yard setback.
Can you describe the parking arrangement as it exists or has existed between lots 14 and lot 15?
So the existing sites, 14 and 15, currently operate with, 2 access points along Main Street.
Can you point those out?
Yeah, so, the ingress, both are one-way circulation, driveways, and the ingress is on the northern site, or north of lot 14 on lot 15, and goes between the 2 existing buildings. And comes through the site, and then you circulate to the south, and then back towards Main Street, coming out on Main Street on the southern portion of lot 14.
Could you approach it and just do with your pen, point out a vehicle coming in and then leaving consistent with your testing?
Yeah, so depending on the movement of the car will come in this way, drive through and circle out back on Main Street.
How much parking is on lot 14?
Lot 14 currently has 4 parking stalls. And lot 15, though they're not delineated, we've calculated there to be 27 existing parking stalls. And we, on our updated plan, apparently has not made it in, which we will provide. We do measure out those parking stalls as if they were delineated, but they're not delineated.
Now, are you familiar with, what did you do, just generally to prepare to give your testimony tonight, to do the site plan and respond to the reports?
Read through the ordinance, visited the site multiple times. As I stated, also worked on designing the site plan. And read through the board engineer, board planner, board traffic engineers. Memos.
The building that's on the adjoining lot, not the restaurant lot, but lot 15, how is that used currently?
As Mr. Montage noted, it is a mixed-use building. There are 5 one-bedroom apartments currently in that building. And there is a barber shop in that building as well. And then there's the detached garage / storage truck that's also on the front.
I can call Mr. Montage back. What I forgot to do is go over the uses in that particular building, and we'll do that. And the limited apartments and the non-use of parking for that building as it currently stands. But let's go on with you. Okay. Now, the structure itself. Can you discuss the structure itself? As you know, it is anticipated approval.
Sorry.
The structure itself, what we want to do.
Yeah, so the structure is proposed as a 787 square foot permanent enclosure over top of the existing outdoor patio seating area. That existing seating area noted by the applicant currently houses 40 seats. And this would just enclose that area, not increase or decrease the number of seats, it would remain the same. As I noted, the structure would be 2.7 feet away from the front yard setback, but it would otherwise fit inside of that patio area, further down towards the front yard.
Other than the proposed roof or awning, are there any other improvements proposed or any other site improvements proposed in this application?
The only other real minor site improvements that are being proposed is we are currently proposing to restripe and do some minor regrading of some parking in the rear of the restaurant building on lot 14 to provide ADA parking stalls, which would be otherwise required, as well as further providing a new or an expanded fenced in area for the dumpsters and trash enclosure that, as Mr. Montage notes, get wheeled down to the roadway. And that fence would match what's existing there and further enclose the areas. I showed by there earlier, I believe it's a 6-foot high wooden picket fence, but should that need to be adjusted, we could work with the board and board's professionals on.
The present patio, is that enclosed by a wall of any kind?
There are brick knee walls currently enclosing it on all 3 sides with the one little opening for walkway back to the top of it.
Is it upon this wall that these improvements will be made?
It's my understanding it'll fit inside of those areas.
And the engineer in his memo asked for some clarification of the proposed building addition constructed over the existing patio. I think you've already testified regarding the square footage.
Yes, 787.
And the parking requirements, Mr. Farrago commented that 14 additional spaces for 40 seats in the building expansion would be required either by way of a variance or by way of an agreement between the two lot owners. It's the same, correct?
Yeah, I believe that's noted in the report. However, in looking through the ordinance and the requirements of the ordinance. There is a provision in the ordinance under 2629C1 where existing floor area of a use similar to this restaurant retail would not create any new demand of parking requirements they adopted by the borough in the last year. So the existing restaurant structure with the 60 seats interior wouldn't require any new parking. However, in closing the outdoor patio area, though it's not changing the actual physical number of seats that the restaurant currently operates, it does include or increase the floor area, thus requiring new parking or additional parking demand for that specific area of the restaurant. And that would result in a need for 13.3 or 14 parking stalls. However, if you look at the site as a whole, and there is some shared agreement between the two properties, lot 15 and lot 14, the parking requirements for the different uses in lot 15, as well as this expanded use of lot 14, would be under the requirement, or would be over parked and not need any relief. So with the requirement, it would be 27, and we would be providing 30 total parking.
Kelly, I just want to bring up the fact that there's this most recent survey that Wayne submitted shows that the existing parking easements have expired. So they're not really in effect, they may need to be reestablished.
Yeah, so I think there is an agreement in place. The applicant owns both properties, and I think they've agreed if we needed to update those easements or provide additional documentation that they're agreeing to share their own properties and parking between the two parties, we would provide that.
Okay.
You mentioned about possibly some grading or maybe some paving. Is the plan, does the site plan, does that anticipate any disturbance of paving modifications of the parking area?
Yeah, so there would be very minor elevation changes. Predominantly in this very small area here, just to make sure that the ADA parking stalls are, for lack of a better term, flat and meet the ADA requirements. But beyond that, there's no heavy earth movement or repaving of the property that would otherwise be taking place. And I believe Mr. Clerico's letter did ask the question of whether or not we would provide, or the applicant would propose to repave the entire parking lot. And at this time, we don't really see the need to do it beyond just the striped area and the TAA parking stall area.
Is there any plan by the applicant to improve the existing entrance and exit to the driveway at this point?
Beyond adding that do not enter sign, there would be no other improvements.
Did you review the traffic engineer's memo?
I did.
Do you have any comments regarding the traffic engineer's report?
I believe the applicant answered a lot of the questions. I believe we provided some testimony into the circulation of the site. And I think we've answered all of the questions that were raised in that report.
I'd like to talk about the variances that would be a part of this application. What variances you explore with regard to this application?
I went based off of, the planner's letter that noted, the two variances that they called out and reviewing the application would be the front yard setback and the existing non-conforming impervious coverage on lot 14. And I believe both of those would qualify under both a C1 hardship as well as a C2 flexible variance. And basically the C1 for the hardship is that existing patio exists. The site is kind of, lot 14 specifically is constrained in that the building exists. It's all impervious. There's nowhere that we could potentially expand the building and not otherwise impede the site circulation or go wide and block the parking lot areas and or the driveway areas. The patio exists and we're just putting something over top of it. And the impervious coverage, there is no change to the existing impervious coverage. It's basically a patio that's impervious, and we're just putting it over top of it. So to otherwise meet that 74 or 75% requirement in the zone would be an undue hardship on the application.
You discussed the positive criteria with regard to the C2 variant
Yeah, so
and the C1.
Yeah, so two things on the C2, the purpose, I believe that this meets purpose I of the MLUL in that it's advancing a desirable visual of the site. The applicant noted he had a drawing up from the contractor that building's gonna kind of fit in with the community. It's I don't know if he specifically noted it, but the roof and the structure is gonna kind of match the building. It's not gonna be an eyesore. It's got glass walls on the outside, so it'll look nice. It'll have a nice seating area that currently exists, but you can keep walking down Main Street and see it. So I think there's some public benefit to that. Further, as the applicant noted, the 40 seats currently exist, but they currently only exist seasonally. So I think this will provide a further operation of their property, but beyond just them being able to operate and expand their business beyond just a season, it'll also bring people into the community that are going to the restaurant that would otherwise walk up and down Main Street, maybe visit some other retail and or food establishments while they're visiting the Italian restaurant. So I think it's providing an economic benefit for the community as well.
And this property is located in the downtown business area.
That's correct.
Now, if the board granted it as deciding whether or not to grant this variance, would there be any substantial detriment to the public good if such variances were granted?
Not that I see. That the site impervious exists. I think all of the improvements that are being proposed are positives. I don't see any negative.
This is an approved use for this property,
Yes,
and business in Flemington is encouraged by the zoning, the master plan, the mayor and council, correct?
right. And I think the plan does a very good job of noting in their memo that within the ordinance specifically in the 2015 re-examination report that the borough-wide goals are to employ strategies to encourage community and economic development. I think they just kind of stated, I believe this is doing, strengthen and enhance the commercial sector of the borough, which I think by expanding this business, you're strengthening the commercial sector of the borough. And the use density, mixed uses, which the neighboring property has the mixed uses, this has some mixed uses, and it provides for that, overall community circulation that I think the borough is looking for.
Will the requested variances substantially impair the intended purpose of the zoning plan and zoning ordinance?
No, I think if anything, I think they further the zoning plan and the zoning ordinance.
That's all I have.
All right, so let's start the other way. Jay, questions? No questions. All right. Engineering question.
What is the status of the lighting in that rear parking area?
There is an existing light. We weren't proposing to change or improve the lighting. It's operated for as long as they've operated the business 5 years and they haven't had any complaints and it seems to work for their business.
That was it?
Yeah, can you provide more details of the dumpster fence modifications?
Yeah, we would provide a detail for the fence.
Just, you know, more detail of the proposed grading for the ADA space.
Yeah, the plan that probably never got to you. I think we did provide it, but we could further clarify that if needed.
Yeah, Bob had asked that, you know, if you're bringing somebody out there to do these pavement modifications, you know, maybe just do the driveway right at the street for maybe the first 25 feet or so. Because he said it's in pretty rough shape out there.
Yeah.
Just a suggestion. I think it was a requirement.
We'll take that under consideration. I know that this project is quite costly for
Yeah.
these people, and we're trying to keep costs down, but
No, I-
I'm complying with.
Is the awning manufacturer that you were
Correct.
counting on coming?
Yes, yeah, the contractors.
I just have a couple questions about that, but as far as the engineering stuff goes, that's it.
Thank you. That's.
I do have a couple questions. In regard to the fence, I appreciate around the dumpster, or the garbage area, I appreciate that you're gonna provide a detail. And I just wanna make sure that it's complementary to the existing fence, and matching it.
It's gonna match the existing fence and it's less than 6 feet high or will not exceed 6 feet.
Okay, perfect. And then in regard to the canopy structure, I just want to be clear in the drawings, maybe this is a question for your next witness, but it's pretty simple, so I'm gonna try. In the canopy drawings, it depicts a brick wall down at the bottom, and I want to be clear, is that wall proposed or is that intended to represent the existing wall around the patio?
My understanding is it's the existing wall, but
They're gonna build it
That's what,
inside.
I just want to make sure,
Yeah.
okay. And then, the last item was, what is the color of the canopy?
At this point, I know it's gonna be compatible to what we have, but if it's gonna be dark gray or black, and that decision is not been finalized. since
Can we say that maybe it'll complement the,
Yes.
the color and appearance of the existing building? I don't necessarily want to dictate the color, I guess. Maybe the borough doesn't care, but I'm inclined to suggest that maybe it shouldn't be lime green or something. Like that.
I think that we would happily agree with.
And for the garbage, you're gonna have a fence around that and it'll still be the same operation where the garbage is brought out to the curb, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, those are all my questions.
Okay, so questions from board members.
I just have-
Oh, sorry, Karen. I apologize.
You indicated that the striping of the parking is going to be completed as part of the application. All the parking stalls will meet the size requirements, the aisle widths meet the size requirements, with no relief necessary there.
Specifically, we were just gonna restripe the ADA parking stalls. We weren't going to necessarily restripe the entire front.
Okay.
But yes, they would meet the requirements of the ADA parking striping.
Jim, do you have questions? I probably would actually make for the owner more than the engineer, but is this a retractable awning or is it permanent?
Attractive.
Retractable? Okay. Fine. Okay.
I do have one. The total impervious area is changing. Obviously, this awning is going to cover the current impervious area. Given testimony to that, right? Now, but am I right? What is the material of the current patio? Is it pavers?
It's pavers.
So then, when the awning is fully expanded, are you expecting a change in the runoff pattern of the water coming onto into Main Street at all from, because the pavers tend to absorb some, right? Even though they're officially impervious, they do absorb some, and I'm just thinking of this being out, and I'm thinking of streams running down at all.
Yeah,
If you look at how that, I don't know how the awning works on the current site yet, but if you can just explain that.
the awning system does come with a gutter system, so we capture the water line.
Oh, as it's
and then
coming
we would run something for everything. So it's
So where
not-
is that going to run into? Where is that going to connect? Is it going to run directly into one of the sewer? It's going to run down. How are you going to connect?
I think we were anticipating that we would just discharge it to the curb line. Like some of the other discharge points in the borough.
Right, but we have the wall, right, you have the wall, so that's what I was wondering is how the water is going to get out of the walled area
Yeah, it would
to.
go underground in a PVC pipe. And it's not
You're gonna go and
Yeah, this is a drain, but I'll have.
inside the.
Inside the patio.
Oh, so you're going to the boat.
That was my question too.
All right, okay.
Time, do you have any questions? No, do you have any questions? So one minor question, just to make sure we're very clear. You're seeking relief for, front yard setback. Is the 2.7 feet that is, being proposed measured to the awning line, or is that to the existing knee wall that's on the patio?
It is to the awning line, not the knee wall. The knee wall is even closer.
That was my question. So do you have a dimension, like, of what the knee wall is, like how far? I mean, it is right at the sidewalk.
It's-
I walk past there pretty much daily, so.
On it, actually, it's over one.
Okay, so I would just say that perhaps maybe we need to modify the relief, because if we're trying to. The existing nonconformity of this, of the knee wall, which seems to be integral to the. To the proposed awning structure, because it's holding it in, it's fencing it, is actually closer to the property line than 2.7. Maybe we need to have some. Memorialization of that existing nonconformity, and so the granting of the relief should not be 2.7, it should be. Representing the knee wall.
I mean, we can certainly say to the location of the knee wall, which will be provided by the applicant's engineer,
I'm just concerned that at some
Prior
point
to-
down the road, if for some reason the technology changes and they choose to install a. Replacement of this system, and rather than it being mounted on the inside of the knee wall, they choose to mount it on the top of the knee wall. They'd have to come back for site plan, and I'd rather avoid that if they made that decision, because because it seems to be that it's all kind of working together. Does that make sense?
So would the setback variance be granted up to the closest distance that currently exists, and if it's set back another foot or so, so be it.
So be it. That's what I'm just thinking in terms of being.
And then if they do want to make that change, it's already permitted.
The only issue is the knee wall is beyond the property line. It's within.
Within the right.
The knee wall is on the right
Totally.
side. It's in the right of way, or is it past the property line? Is the property line midline of Main Street, or is the property line?
No, it's not in the middle of the, it's beyond the property line.
No, I'm saying that the property, the lot line is not the center line of Main Street. The lot line here is the sidewalk.
Correct.
Correct.
Well, it's beyond the sidewalk.
Behind the sidewalk.
Okay,
So it's further complicated.
nice try, but no. Okay, so we can't help you. I'm sorry.
Most of the same, we just go to a 0 foot 20 yard on the structure.
You can do that, but that,
I'm not.
you can do that.
I'm saying more than if they want to come back, I'm saying that we have an existing nonconformity
Yes.
in terms of setback, this is the knee wall. And the proposal in front of us does not only does it not remove the knee wall, but it kind of relies on that knee wall in terms of establishing the boundary of the seating area. So
When was the knee wall constructed? Does anybody have a sense?
I've been hearing this since 1975. As far as I
It was
recall.
already there, so.
it definitely was there for quite some time with several previous restaurants.
I would recommend that our resolution recognize that it's in the right of way, just to make sure everybody in the future is aware that this was recognized and really was.
That would make me feel better, yes. That's fine,
Yeah, can we do that with the sign where we acknowledge the pre-existing non-conformity?
yes.
One of the signs.
Yeah,
And then,
billboard of it, yeah.
but also then their line isn't contingent on the front of the knee wall, because they could change the knee wall to be narrower in the
Exactly.
future. We're more like, we want to say they have permission to go to the back of the current knee wall, and you want to measure that distance from the property line.
Well, I don't necessarily want to do anything. I want to document what's there. I want to document what's there and make sure that the approvals that we're granting, which kind of in the testimony given is that it's within the existing knee wall. I want to just make sure that we're documenting that was how we understood the application.
We can certainly do this. I would always prefer to have an exact amount of the variance that we're granting, whether it's parking spaces, whether it's measurement, whatever the case may be, as opposed to saying to the rear of X, Y, Z. And if that knee wall is within the right of way and they can't go there anyway without additional approvals,
Right,
I would think we'd leave it at 2.7.
then we'll leave it at 2.7, okay, but I would just say in the resolution, I think we should suggest.
We could certainly do that, yeah, 100%.
Susan's got a question.
Yeah, the knee wall isn't just in the right of way. It is actually off of their property line. If you look at the drawing.
Yeah,
That's what.
So I
Yeah.
just wanna make that clear. That's my biggest concern here. And
Okay.
how that affects and how that affects, as Kara mentioned, the calculation of what we will, what we're proposing to be allowed as far as the distance off of the property line versus the knee wall. I don't think we should use the knee wall as a
Right.
identifying factor. We need to use the property line as the identifying factor.
Gotcha. Did you have other questions, Susan? I'm sorry.
I had a couple questions for Beth, but I don't think she's gone through her
No, let's hold that for. when
letter
we
yet.
do
So you
the
can call me
discussion.
when she's ready.
Okay. Mike, do you have any questions for this witness? Just making sure.
No.
Thanks, Mike. Okay. Any members of the public with questions on the engineering and planning testimony here? Seeing as there's no members of the public, thank you.
Thank you.
It looks like your other witnesses arrived.
Yes.
We do need to swear him in and all that good stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, have a good evening. My name is Eagle. Thanks for having me in this beautiful town.
Could you spell your name for us and I'll swear you in?
Eagle.
And your last name?
Bilginer. Bilginer.
Wonderful. You raise your right hand and swear the testimony you're about to give this board is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I swear.
Sir, could you please describe for the board the project that's anticipated at 161 Main Street for Dolce?
Of course, my pleasure. First of all, my company SunArt is a global company manufacturing retractable roof and window systems. And in this project, we provide a retractable motorized awning system and also windows altogether. Actually, when we say awning, people think that it's a simple sunshade, but it is not. It's a heavy duty, very strong against all weather conditions, a roof technology actually. So that's why this is adding value to the towns, and it's adding value to people joy in every weather condition, all seasons long. Our structure is aluminum structure. At all, only main carriers, main beams are stainless steel. And overall, we use 3 millimeters aluminum thickness, which is the best all around the world. Because we are selling those products to 80 countries worldwide now, thank God. Very long lasting stuff. Most of the time, we don't install them to the existing building. We use our own main carriers, and we only make insulation between existing building and the awning system. So I'm expecting your questions. You can ask me anything you want.
What is the awning made of? What material?
So all profiles are aluminum, and we paint them with electrostatic powder coating in our factory. Also the roof material, which is I have here. Also, let me give you, maybe you can hand to hand.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so we will mark this as A5.
So this material
Just
now,
if I can really quickly, just for the record, so we're gonna mark this A5. These are depictions of potential aluminum
colors, no, these are roof color,
roof colors.
roof color fabric.
Okay, provided by Sloan Coating Distribution. So proposed awning roof color.
Yes, these are the colors. Our clients are picking up their color from this color chart and matching with the aluminum rail colors, which are here. Also, if you want to, because I heard you were asking for the colors, right?
Right.
Unlimited. You can pick up any color, depends on the town. These are matte chart and these are shiny chart. We have unlimited colors. We can paint them however the board want. So most important thing,
Eight, really quickly, I'm so sorry.
no problem, ask me anything.
So for A6, we're gonna mark this is potential aluminum or options for aluminum colors.
Yep.
The title of this is matte pulveral colors. or-
Pulver is the brand of the paint company. We are buying from them. I can say almost they are the best. And for fabric, we use.
A6 will be, A7 will be.
Okay, all right, perfect,
All right, go ahead, I'm sorry.
no problem.
And we're referring to the fabric of the awning itself.
Yeah.
What it's made of.
Okay, it is PVC membrane fabric. It has 3 layers. The middle layer is giving us insulation, and this part is very important for your attention. This fabric is non-flammable, first of all. So it's giving us 100% safety in case of emergency during a fire. It's not fireproof, but it's non-flammable. So the flame cannot run. The fire, if it touches it, it's only burn where it touches. That's it. If you want, I can
Yeah, maybe not.
light it. I'll boil it. So we use Belgium brand Siona. They are the best fabric company in the world. No mercy. We do use also Sergio Ferrari. Maybe you guys know that. Sergio Ferrari is very famous, especially in North America. We use their fabrics for other stuff, but not for pergola systems, pergola awning systems. We choose that fabric because it's giving us very long lasting time. So 20-25 years, nothing happened. Any kind of snow load, you can put your car on top of my pergola system. We tried it before, so it's so strong. During the installation, we walk on top of it. And the most beautiful part is, this is an outdoor space, right? So we don't let people lose the feeling of being outdoors. Because whenever you need, you push the button easily, you open your roof and reach out the sky. But if something happens, rain, cold air, snow, push the button in seconds, it's gonna be safe for everyone. And our systems are extremely aesthetic. These are custom built systems. We manufacture them depends on the dimensions of every single individual project. So if you say me, we have the prep plan here. If you tell me, Eagle, we have to go 3 foot back, we can do it. Smaller, bigger, it doesn't matter for us. And motor automation is Somfy. Somfy is the best brand in the world, and they are approved in North America, but by United States authorities. We use their automation system, motors, parts, electronics, remote controls, wind sensors, snow sensors, rain sensors, all Somfy. Maybe one of you guys have drape shades with Somfy motors in your home. So they are the best one. Also, all aluminum profiles of our all kind of systems, we manufacture them. We have also an aluminum factory. So it's totally Turkish. Everything is A to Z Turkish, except the fabric and the motor system. That's it. We use very thick aluminum. I have here, just a moment. So this is the tiniest one. This is for a rail for the window systems. And you can see the paint here. Average thickness is thicker than this aluminum profile.
Aluminum profile.
So the glass panels retract in that track.
This one also we have, this is for manual system, manual sliding system. They didn't decide it yet, but we propose here the motorized ones, which are going up and down. We use double pane insulated tempered glass for all window systems. All right, so tempered glass is giving us safety, as you know, and we apply argon gas 80% of the gap between two panes. So this is giving us insulation. In the meantime, they will need to heat or cool inside. So we are adding value. We are keeping the nature spend less energy for us. Argon gas is giving that, and the double pane. Also, I cannot say a retractable roof or window system is 100% insulated. It's a lie, but almost 100% insulated. Even though our regular houses that we live, they are not 100% insulated, even though they are not retracting.
So when this thing is fully retracted back to the building, it's like what, one length of one panel of size?
So here we have two modules of retractable roof. This is bird view, right? So these are independently working from each other. For example, if you open this, you can keep this closed or half and half. It's totally up to the owner. When you push the button, this fabric roof walking back by the motor automation and stops by itself underneath of a.
Now that's just the roof moving, not the glass walls or everything?
Glass walls also are moving, but they're up and down. In this, they don't have here. Oops, sorry, I can show you this. These are the windows in my plan.
This is separate.
Yeah, they took only the roof over here. Yeah, we can do it. As I told you, they didn't decide it yet, because this is not the final plan. We have to make another brainstorm meeting else on this plan.
What's the name on the top of that sheet? I just want to mark that now for the record. A9, that's separate from.
Which one?
This is project, same thing, project production plan section, same name as A3. Has actually the same date and the same. We're just gonna mark this as. Mark this. You know what, we're gonna go A3A and A3B. At the exact same date, exact same revisions. The difference between,
It's just the size of it.
no, but these are all different.
This doesn't have the windows.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So with additional, with the retractable windows depicted, because the other one just has a retractable awning, yeah, exactly. Great, thank you.
Of course,
Stack up with the garage.
do you guys have any question about the roof and windows?
Do you have other questions?
No.
Okay, so I'm assuming Jay, you're good, you don't have questions. I'm gonna make any other engineering questions.
No, I think that was pretty much it.
Okay, Beth, did you have questions?
None.
Carrie, you have questions?
I do not think so, no.
I'm gonna start trying to get this one. Karen's on. Jim.
The one question I have is the fabric, how does the fabric retract? Is it a plate that retracts back, or does it actually pull up?
May I show you guys couple videos through my phone?
You can't really do that. Just an evidence rules.
Okay. So
The fabric seems flexible when
may I
you
use
show it
your
close.
Thank you. May I take a note on this? No? Okay, I will make it on my paper.
You're gonna have to describe what you're drawing.
Yes.
in the record.
So I draw the pergola system like
Looks
that.
very much like that, which is on A3A.
Yes. So you see these points here?
Yes.
Okay, these points are the aluminum profiles that which are,
That we just showed, right there. These images.
no, not this one. This is the bottom quadra rail of the sliding manual sliding window system. This is all the way up, this is all the way down. So when you push the button, these aluminum profiles are connected to the actual fabric is connected to these aluminum profiles. Also, lighting system is connected to these profiles. When you push the button, this cylinder motor is start turning, okay, and it starts pulling back or pushing the fabric cover, okay, and somewhere else here depends on the projection, okay. We have a composite aluminum composite stationary roof, and all these fabric when it retracts all the way back, going underneath of this composite stationary roof. And in this case, we protect the fabric when it is retracting totally. Also, all automation is right here. All motors, all electronics. So it's being waterproof. Water cannot go there. It's impossible. And when you open it, the fabric is thing that you push the button, you open all roof all the way back, and the fabric stays like that underneath of this composite roof.
So it folds.
By itself. Yeah, it folds by itself. Yeah,
It's like a wave.
yeah.
So,
That ask it, because we all have the same question.
so when awnings fully retract, closed,
Okay.
so for maximum open air for dining, what will you see as you walk by the street? Like what structures are gonna remain aside from
So
the knee wall?
without showing you some photos of my system, it will be all about imagination of us. If you want, I can prepare some renderings like it's done, and we can send you.
No, I think it just simply.
Are there
how-
holes?
if-
Like what, literally, what structures?
The natural beams.
Like, if we could, so we have the.
I got you.
On the picture right
I
there,
got
what of those structures
I got you.
remain?
So please imagine that now this is totally closed. We cannot see the sky, okay? When you push the button, all these roof going underneath of this composite aluminum stationary roof, and you will only see the profiles, nothing else. Aluminum, beautifully painted profiles.
So you'll just see 4 beams going
Yeah.
across the top of the patio
Actually,
area.
you're gonna see one. Let's count this 2 because they are staying together as one.
Okay, so 5,
1, 2, 3 beams.
but nothing on the edges?
Yes, but I'm very experienced on my business. So no one looks this side, okay? People only looks like that, and they will see 3 beams, and they are 5 inches only
So,
at the sky when they try to see the sky.
so what you're telling me is there are only 3 beams in the interior of the patio, there are none on the exterior
Yes,
by the PEM?
no, exterior, we have nothing. We are keeping ourselves where you guys gonna let us to build the structure.
And then are there, so those are the horizontal beams that extend
Yes.
over the seating area?
Symmetric,
And
I'm
then
very picky about that.
are there vertical beams
Of
at
course.
at the
Of
end
course.
of each of those three or maybe four,
Of course.
depending on how you
So
want to
it
count them?
depends on the window
Yeah.
plan. Because these beams, we can slide them. During the installation also, we make adjustments, okay? But when I create the final plan, okay? It means all, for example, these ones are the beams that actual posts that are carrying the structure, okay?
And they're
These
permanently
ones-
fixed to the ground?
Yes,
Permanently fixed to the
yes.
ground with foundations?
It has to be minimum 3 foot deep concrete, okay? And we use anchor bolts. We open a hole with our drill inside of this concrete foundation. We pour liquid concrete first, and then we put our anchor bolt. We wait like 15 minutes. It's a rapid thing, and then we squeeze them. Okay, so this system, when installed in this way, it cannot move anywhere. It cannot move anywhere. Because I did plenty of rooftops all around the world. Minimum 10 in Manhattan.
So following on the elevations, are those going to be completely glazed, as we're showing now?
Yes, that's the plan.
So the
that's the plan.
sides and the front will have a door,
Yes.
glass walls on the
Yes,
front of Main Street,
yes,
glass down the side, and then the roof is a retractable.
yes,
Okay.
yes. But in the corners, we will have stationary windows because we cannot do them, we cannot manufacture them.
When they will,
moving.
when they replace and close, it will be a solid wall of glass.
No, it's not solid. It is retractable.
Yeah, but when it's all closed,
Yeah, of course.
when they're all in
Solid.
place,
Yeah.
it will be
Yeah.
completely glass on the front. Back face obviously attaches to the building,
Not attaching to the building.
very close to the building.
Yeah, very close to the building. We make bulkings and insulations over there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Are they attached? Okay,
What about the triangular area between the panels and the roof?
This one, we are making a stationary tempered glass again, laminated and tempered this time, because in this part, they are fixed, they are stationary, they don't move.
Right.
All right, but again, we use tempered glass, but no paint. Two laminated glass together, but they're also tempered. All right, so these triangle part doesn't move. It is
Even when the
stationary.
windows are down, when
Yeah.
the side windows are
Yes,
down,
they always
you'll
stay
always
over
see
there.
that
It has to be,
triangular area.
because we cannot do triangle window sliding or
Yeah, right.
opening.
Yeah.
One day I hope. One day I hope.
So the large window on top is 770 centimeters wide, or are there verticals that separate
No,
on the top?
Look, here, for example,
The top triangle,
yeah,
just top triangle only, that one
this
solid.
this will be again 3 parts, but we didn't show it here. Because we cannot bring it one piece, we install them in 3 pieces, all right? Also, not single huge glass. It will be, for example, let's say, this is 800 divided 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, so 6 glass, maybe 8. Because our difference as a manufacturer of those kind of stuff is we are the only company all around the world that using a engineering software. So as the owner, engineer, architect, or any employee, foreman of the company, when we get all these dimensions, we are giving all of them, loading all dimensions to our software program. So this program giving us every single detail, all up and downs, and it doesn't let us to make any mistake. We eliminate the human mistakes with this software program, and we are the only company all around the world using that program. We created it.
So, thank you for that. So again, I'm really struggling with, so But let me describe it my way. It's like a big garage door that goes up and down on the sides.
Actually, no. The garage door is a sanctional door, actually.
Okay.
It's going all the way there. With my motorized sash window system is working like that.
No, you don't have to draw it, just if, like, so I'm assuming the windows
Okay,
are,
let me tell you. So think that you have 3 different
okay,
glass window wings, okay? The bottom module is stationary, it's not moving anywhere. And in this case, it is giving us a natural railing. People cannot go in and out, okay? And the other 2 above the stationary wing, they are coming when you push the button of the remote, the motor start working and releasing the first wing, which is all the way up. Nicely, they are coming all together and they behave like a single wing. They are coming down. I'm very surprised. You have never seen my systems. I'm very famous in New Jersey and New York.
So this means that so you have 3 windows on the side.
Yep.
And when the canopy is open for maximum airflow, they'll be sort of stacked 1, 2, 3 right
Yes,
next to each
that's
other
true.
to create a low window adjacent above the knee wall.
Yeah.
Got it.
It doesn't has to be on the wall, by the way. Again, this is not the final project. We will decide it all together to make the town more beautiful. We can go all the way down to the ground, or we can install the system on top of the wall.
No, they're.
Both ways are.
Okay.
Don't forget there's a knee wall there.
Yeah.
So it'll probably, if it goes
So
all the way to the
maybe-
ground, it might stick up under the wall.
Okay.
Yeah, behind the knee wall.
Good.
Okay, Susan's got questions. I can see a
I
hand
have
up.
another question.
All right, let me get Susan first and then turn on the back.
Are you ready for me?
Please.
Sorry. Can you explain the connection between the existing facade of the building and the frame? How I see the let me see. I see where the water kind of comes through in the front, the lower portion of the steel frame, for lack of a better word. How is the awning system, the frame system, connected to the existing facade of the building so that there's no water that kind of slides along the facade of the building down behind the frame?
Good question.
Thank you.
As I told you before, we use our main stainless steel beams to give the load of the system, and they will be right in front of the existing building facade, right? Between the building and the awnings beams, okay, we have special insulations and we will manufacture them. They are not ready. We will manufacture them. Depends on the conditions of the building. So we have to be 100% sure about the insulation between these 2 structures. All right. We use composite panels for that. We use spatial insulation.
Sorry, you use composite what for that?
Composite panels, aluminum panels.
Okay.
We customize them. We shape them. Depends on the condition of the existing structure. Okay. I calculate everything during the manufacturing measures, and we put them on paperwork like AutoCAD. Actually, it's AutoCAD. And then we see what is going to happen there, and we decide the best solution. We have more than 10 solutions because in the United States, buildings are not concrete, they are all wood, lumber. So it's making our business difficult. If it is concrete, connected, insulated very easily with only one silicone. But here is totally different situation. We have to respect the conditions of the building also, because there is a lot of stuff at the facade of the building. Sometimes they have stucco, sometimes it's brick. So also we have aesthetic issues over there, concerns that we have to obey too. When we finish the job installation, it has to look very, very aesthetic. There cannot be any water coming over there.
Will you be using sealant in addition, along the facade of the
We
building?
have better things, my lady.
I'm sorry?
We have better stuff, my lady. Believe me.
In addition, you have better stuff besides sealant?
Yes, trust me, we have better stuff. We are buying stuff from all around the world, especially in Germany. Germans are making the most strong insulations, silicones, and most of the time we use German technology on that.
Well, silicone is sealant. So is the material you're using silicone?
Actually, we call it silicone, but it's not easy to explain. It is kind of chemistry that I don't understand too much. We built up those kind of thing as an insulation in the meantime by experience. So I have been in this market since 20 years, so I'm so experienced. I did use a lot of caulking, insulation, silicone from all around the world. But at the end of the story, you find you pay a lot of things, but you find the best stuff for your system. I always behave any kind of project that I am doing it to my own house or own restaurant. So that's why, first of all, I am very picky. If someone says to me, do it in this way, if it's not the right way, I don't do that. Because
I'm
I
sorry,
cannot
I
make.
forgot the question, Susan.
That's
Was there a
Yeah,
question?
she got, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay, Karen.
Right, I have a couple of things. With regard to the frame, I'm not clear where the height of the frame will be a rectangular section when it approaches the building, right?
Yep.
But the building has a gable. Where is the top height of this proposal? Is it going to extend above the current roof line, or is it all going to sit below the roof? Because I don't see how you can have the angle and fit people under it. So I want to see, so based, Cara, on the picture that's in Beth's report.
Yep,
I
we're
like
talking about
to
page 1 of TV1.
anywhere showing of where that expecting that line comes on this elevation. Where is it proposed to go? The current height of the building to the bottom of the eaves there, and the top. What is that height shown on there, and how far is that? Maybe
This
it's
is
back to
this about 12.5 foot at the rear, so facade of the building. But the problem is, I was talking about that actually. Those buildings are not in even shape; they're all uneven. So
Well, not a
when
question of even or anything, she's asking the question of the height of the, where it comes up against the existing building, the height
Yeah.
of the awning structure, because there is a small projecting. What do you want to call it? We're looking at a picture here. but-
you see,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a.
okay, yep.
And then how high is it up, or does
Did
it
that-
inside or the inside?
No.
did anybody put the two elevations together on a picture? No?
I got you. We will be just in front of like.
It's not in front, we're talking height.
Height is underneath of this small window over there.
It would be, basically, it's a little roof. So
it would be right on top of that roof.
Above that little roof on the
Correct,
door.
yes, yes.
Well, then it doesn't,
The dimension says 11'10" on their drawings. I had the exact same thought, Karen.
No, it would be, yeah, it would be,
If you look at the drawings, or the site plan drawing, I'll just try to answer this too. We are showing the building. For the awning to be
No, it was-
inside of the, I know, I just want to try to answer this. Multiple ways.
Okay,
So if you look at the brick wall goes to the edge of the existing building.
Yeah.
In report. The proposed structure is inside of those brick walls, so it's inside, it's tighter than. The,
right,
so,
it's just to the outside of the external window.
right, so I think the,
right there, yeah.
right, so the edge of this roof structure is gonna be above the window and it's still gonna be within. The roof line that's there, it'll be below it.
so you're saying between the top of the window. Where the brick course looks like 4 courses of brick before the painted wood clapboard. In that gap,
No, it'll still be above that, probably in the siding, but it won't be above that existing roof structure, or roof cable structure.
So are you gonna have to remove?
are you gonna have to remove that little
Um,
roof thing?
No, we don't have solicitors. We can remove it, but we don't have to.
Gonna fit underneath if it goes to the top of the current
They,
line.
he said.
I don't-
remove.
Is it being removed?
It's gonna be removed, yeah.
Okay, if that wasn't the testimony that we had, that's why I'm asking, that's why we need to get this on the record.
All right, yeah, and let's make sure, let's have one person talking, one person asking questions, we make sure we get these questions
So,
answered properly.
so Mr. Osich, like, well, let's get this all the way there. Do you have a elevation of the existing structure that tells us the height, we have the dimension of the proposal there, I'll put in your hand. In the set of drawings submitted, do we have an elevation of the existing building that can tell us where the rough, the 11 and change feet hits?
Not that I know of, I don't think we have an elevation.
No.
Okay.
I,
because
I've been
the concern-
looking, it's
you
not
don't
there.
see- okay. So the concern that we've got, and I know we're in question period here, but it's, is that we're asking for relief, the relief that's being granted is contingent upon variance, the variance here that's being sought is contingent upon negative and positive criteria, and one of the things that we're concerned with is impact on the zone plan, which impact on the underlying district, which could be impacted if there's a change to the existing building, because it exists on Main Street and there's review that goes along with that, including our HPC, and I'm not saying that we need additional reviews, it's just that we don't have enough information here to know what's actually where these actual pieces fit together. So you know, that's the concern that we've got here. So it's not a question for the contractor. It's an engineering question.
Well, it sounds like it's architectural.
It is an architectural question, yeah, but we don't have
Right.
the answer to that. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
So-
I have concern about the roof line too, that they would have to do adjustments to the roof,
Yes,
which haven't been included in that
Yeah.
current plan of works. And where it would fit, I just can't see with an elevation with the two aligned, we'd be able to see clearly, we don't have that. in the
so
current
I'm
plan.
gonna make a you know, suggestion here, like, I don't think we can go any further without, I think from hearing from members of the board, that there's concern without seeing these two pieces together in an elevation. As if I'm standing across Main Street, what am I gonna see in profile? What am I gonna see looking at it from the south, looking north along Main Street? So what am I gonna see building with this? We don't have those pieces together.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned that we don't have enough information in front of us.
Mhm.
So is that something that we can ask to get prepared?
Yeah, we would happily provide some drawings. I don't know if we would have an architect or.
You can work it.
Yeah, we can work together.
May I?
Because we're, because I don't wanna unnecessarily delay the adjudication of the application, but it feels like from members of the board that we don't have enough information in front of us right now to have a meaningful vote, and I would suggest perhaps that we carry this until we have that information.
But let's,
God
Yeah.
bless you.
Jeff, I have another question which might need additional
Go ahead,
information
please.
putting through to Joe. From your testimony. You mentioned that the footings for the columns for the frame 3 foot square, was that correct? Was it 3 foot by 3 foot they were going to be? You were going to dig?
I was talking about the footing. Deepness has to be,
3 foot deep, what's the
yeah,
dimension?
minimum it has to be 3 foot deep.
Yeah.
And
What's the dimension?
we didn't decide it yet because also this is an answer to the elevation. We don't have the final project yet. So that's why we didn't decide a lot of stuff, but generally we do 2 by 2 square
Okay.
footing, which is minimum 36 inches deep.
Okay. It's the plan I'm concerned about, and here's my follow-up question to that, is the plan of these, we don't have those identified on the site plan.
Correct.
Where they are. If your column is going to abut right to the back of the knee wall,
Yes,
the footing will necessarily have to undermine the wall.
yes, and that's an.
So how is that gonna be done, and what is the remediation to the
So that's another question, that's another thing we need to see.
Yeah.
gonna be done?
Okay.
Because then my concern then is you come and do these footings, the wall falls down, and then we have a whole different scenario.
Yeah.
To deal with.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
So I'd like
So-
to see those on the plan also.
Yeah,
There are a couple other,
I think you need to give, can I say?
yeah,
something?
Susan, go ahead.
I think you need to give the applicant just a couple clear details that they need to provide. Front elevation, footing detail, the detail of the connection between the facade and the frame itself. And the if I'm not mistaken, there was, I want to say the knee wall that's being reused is depicted differently in their drawings versus the existing conditions. So there's just, I think they just need to have those specific details identified in a list, and as well as any other details that the rest of the board can think of.
Yeah,
I would agree with Susan's, and I would also add on the drainage, because it was mentioned in testimony, but we don't have that where the drainage is gonna run to the current drain.
Good one, Karen.
Karen, please.
you want a side elevation as well?
I do, I would, it only has to be one side elevation because both north and south are symmetric. But if there could be some elevate, I'm thinking just south is just the easiest one to draw because of where the existing other buildings are, but it doesn't have to be south, either side of it, but because that'll show us in profile. And as you're doing the elevations, it would be helpful to, show what is, and we have some testimony, but we don't have a picture of it, and a lot of us are having a hard time here of what will it look like when the thing is fully covered, when the awning is extended and all the windows are up, and then what is it gonna look like when the awning is retracted and all of the windows are dropped? Like because there is some pieces that are always going to be there, and I think we need to see what that's gonna look like to be able to assess it. I mean, these aren't hard things, it's just we don't have it.
And then just a
Including
couple
the-
of
including the,
identified in Bob's review letter. These were temporary waivers that the board granted at the completeness hearing. And there was some information that Bob wanted to see if the board wanted in connection with those temporary waivers. So for instance, if soil erosion sediment control certification or submission of an EIS would be necessary. Now that we know a little bit more about the project, is that something that you want to require or grant a permanent waiver? Another one was better detail of the trash recycling facilities.
I think we've addressed
We've
that.
addressed. And then upgrading the current lighting, that was a temporary waiver. I don't know, again,
Right.
based on what we're hearing, if that's something that the board wants to see.
I think we also need some lighting detail, because I did not, in reviewing the application, have any indication that there was lighting inside the awning, and now we heard that there was lighting inside the awning. So what does that mean? What are the illumination? How might that, because we're talking about glass walls, what's the spillover? How different is it from what's there right now? Because obviously there's outdoor dining there now, and there's some illumination existing.
Does the board want to see a lighting plan that identifies the lighting levels within the patio, or do you just simply want the proposed fixtures.
I think it's just whatever's being proposed is what we need to see. We don't need existing conditions, because if there really isn't any permanent lighting on the patio right now, they put candles and stuff on the tables.
No, but do you wanna see
Yeah, the
what the
lighting.
lighting, like, do you wanna see the lighting levels for the proposed condition, or do you just want the details of the proposed fixtures?
Oh, no, we need to see what the lighting is, because if we're talking about late, a summer evening where the lights are on,
Mhm.
and the light's gonna bleed through the glass, because the glass is gonna be nice and clear, because everyone wants that. How might that spill out onto Main Street? Like, we don't have any of that detail.
But we're limiting it just to the patio area, right? We're not-
Yeah, just a patio, we're not talking about the parking lot, it's just that, because we're because we just, yes, the patio area.
Can I make a
The
request?
other reason
on
I
that?
think Kelly's asking is there was reference to parking lots in.
I'm less worried about the parking lot than the.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Susan go.
Can we go back to that side elevation request real quick? Todd had a good point that the triangular window, I think the testimony made it clear there's actually vertical structural members that divide that triangle window. So I think you need to make sure that the side elevation accurately reflects the entire frame, including all vertical members. And because this board is, I think frankly, the biggest variance that we have to grant, if we do grant it, is the front yard setback. I think that the side elevation should be facing south, so that not the barber shop, but the other side, the building on the south side of the building is shown in the background, so we can understand how far out this structure extends in front of the front of the building facade.
So you're saying standing north, looking south.
If you're
saying
standing
at
in
my-
if you're standing in the front yard of the barber shop and you're
Looking south.
looking at, yes, looking south toward your house,
Similar to the perspective on page 1 of Beth's.
Yeah.
yes.
Got it.
I could, sorry, yeah, I could just,
No, but yeah, I think we've got it. Okay, good.
yeah.
Okay.
It's not elevation 2.
No, we got it.
It would be the opposite. Yeah, it's the opposite of elevation 2,
Yeah.
is what- with the building behind it represented.
I just have some more questions, just so I understand. The vestibule area where the door is on the bottom of the plan. Are those windows retractable, or is that a solid glass vestibule?
If we make a vestibule, we normally do stationary windows, but also we can make them retractable window too.
And the door is just a solid glass door, even when everything is maximum air, the door is
Of
always
course.
there.
It is stationary.
Okay,
The windows of the doors are stationary. They don't move. But it's not going to be a single glass door. We will divide it in 2 wings, and it will open outside with the emergency push bar. Also, I don't know, I don't remember if it is too close to the sidewalk.
It is.
Yeah, we can make it 18 inches inside to outside opening.
I think that's a good idea.
my question
18, I
would
go
be,
36.
yeah, to make.
36, okay,
Yeah,
however you want.
I would recommend that when you come back with the updated information, there have been a couple things that you've mentioned that are still under discussion. Maybe it's the window direction, how they'll retract, and a couple other issues. I would recommend that you guys work those issues out so that the board can feel like all of its questions are answered.
I will update.
Let me look,
Everything.
let me put it this way, like, we need to know exactly what's being proposed. We can't adjudicate this way or that way, because these are not trivial decisions as to how it's going to look when it's in operation. We need to
Gotcha.
have those.
I will prepare and revise everything I will visit the job site again. I will measure every single existing condition. I will prepare renders. I'll prepare video renders. Okay.
Don't do videos, just drawings are fine.
Yeah, drawings are fine.
Okay.
And work with the engineer.
Engineer can get to the next level of design, and that's what we need to see. Yeah.
All right, let's. Ask your question.
I have another question. I believe this could be for the owner. Are you aware, it's a question, Elaine. Are you aware that with a glass door, you can have a sign on the glass? And should you want to have a sign, you can include it in this application on a decal on the door.
So if you want to put a sign on the door, do it now.
Okay,
Otherwise, you gotta come back.
Like the Dolce or something.
If you literally wanted to take the word Dolce, like the graphic that's on the side of the building now, and make it an application on the glass door, you can do that, but do it now.
Do it now.
Okay,
Because otherwise you gotta come back.
thank you, yeah. Thank you.
Trying to roll this all together.
Can't think of anything else.
I'm gonna, so this, there's a little bit of work to do. Our next meeting is next week. I think continuing to next week is probably not a smart plan. So, we can continue to our meeting on January sixth, December sixth.
Yes.
Or we have a meeting on December 13th, but again, I'd rather not be on December 13th meeting. So, do we think that we can get there?
Are you gonna need everything 10 days prior, or is it?
Yeah, and we've got Thanksgiving in here, so we could continue forward. The only problem is date certain, and we have not adopted our meeting dates for 2003 yet. So
We do have our
we have
reorg
reorg meetings, so
schedule.
we could carry to the January reorg meeting.
Which is
And
what,
then-
the 10th?
10th of January, and then we could, and then at that point, we could further announce a carry without notice, if that would be helpful.
That?
All right.
Give you some time to record.
Give you some time to get
It's certainly
everything
a cost. So
Right, so,
list and anything else.
The January 10th meeting, would that be one we would appear and give testimony?
Yes.
Or just,
Yeah, but if you're not ready, we could always carry it forward. I just can't give you a date certain past that, because I haven't noticed for any reason.
understood, Mr. Chairman.
So, what we're gonna say then is we're going to, continue this application to our hearing scheduled on January 10th, 2023, 7 p.m. in this room. No further notice, should be given. Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we are up to item 10 on the agenda, which is share items. Our next meeting is November 22nd. We have two resolutions.
These
Oh,
these things, were they evidences or?
They were marked.
What is that?
What do you want to do like? I have them marked as to what they are. I don't know.
Every take them.
So.
I have to take them.
Okay, it's fine. They will sit and,
We know what they are.
Yes, all right.
if we could provide maybe some pictures, electronic files of
I
those.
will
and email
prepare
them.
everything in about 5 days. On my end.
Well, maybe the submission into putting some colors if they were at that point.
Colors would be
And then we
helpful
can
if
just
you
have
had
those
them.
visual.
Hopefully we can further down the road. All right, our next meeting is next week, November 22nd. Hopefully, maybe we'll have resolutions for the two priors. I don't know. I'm doing, but listen, if it's a straightforward, I understand. The other problem is a complicated resolution, so.
I want to make sure everybody has enough time to take a look at it.
Yeah.
If it's easy, you know, trying to set the promise, you got the draft, I want to make sure council takes a look at it.
Yeah.
What I could see happening is having it done, having it to council and still maybe having to review by next Tuesday, but
There's-
I'm gonna try it.
That's absolutely fine. Again, I just want them adopted. I want to make sure we get them adopted before. I think this thing is adopted. And then we have no other substantive issues except for the discussion about the master plan
Yeah.
stuff.
Correct.
Right. So, the master plan subcommittee is trying to find a time to meet over the next few days. There were some emails. I don't think we've landed, but we're almost there. Between, I think you and I have schedules that are more, the problem. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Because we're discussing it on the
Yes.
on
Next Tuesday.
the 22nd.
So I'd rather not meet on.
Yeah.
So there's that, and I will say for anyone who's watching the video, if you have not had, if members of the public have not had a chance to complete the survey, do so. And what else?
You just want to go out a little bit?
Yeah, so we have tentatively put Aunt Mary's on the first meeting in December. On the sixth. I'm gonna ask, I'd like for us to also on that have an executive session for renewal of board contracts for the following year on that meeting.
Yeah, it might be a little too close to go out for RFPs.
No, I don't wanna go out prior.
Then perfect.
And RFPs, we'll do that next year, put that in. And
13th.
And the 13th is master plan, and then the reorg is the week of January.
And then I did, in your packet today, I had just the meeting dates, just a, draft for everyone to review and email that out as well. Conflicts that I've highlighted that we'll have to maybe reschedule.
Could you send that digitally, because I want to look at the dates there and check. Conflicts there. Okay, and I think that was that. Do we have any other share items? No. Susan, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I just want to remind everybody, I think Mike probably want to chime in on this, that everybody needs to watch that video for the municipal.
Yes, do your homework and watch the stormwater videos.
Do your homework.
They are fabulous and well done, and the voiceover is wonderful. It is, it's easy to follow. It is easy. Stormwater management when the rain falls. It's a little bit like that.
Yeah.
And I had to turn off the professor brain watching it because I'm literally grading it in my head. Yeah. I know. Advisory submit.
I'd like to say I learned some things. I thought it was interesting.
The content was good. It was good watch. It was just pour, drink and watch them. And let everyone get drunk. And no one else say that. Not stop, because then you're not. And once board members have had a chance to just send an email to Eileen Zeno, so we can document that everyone's had that done that training. Thank you for the reminder, Susan. And any professional reports? No.
Bills?
Oh, bills. We circulated the bills for the meeting. Got a motion on the bills.
So we'll cover.
Second.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Hill?
Yes.
Mr. Dawson?
Yes.
Mr. Campion?
Abstain.
Mrs. Engelhardt?
Yes.
Ms. Giffen?
Yes.
Mr. Levitt?
Yes.
Thank you. And you need to go to executive session. And can I get a motion adjourned? All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
All get on the stage.
Bye, everyone.